Cookies. So today's video is a little emotional. It's been a long time coming. I just haven't had the courage to actually sit down and actually talk to you guys. But I've just been really emotional about it, and I've been trying to get the courage to actually sit down and tell you guys and talk about it. And now I feel like I'm in a place where I can actually talk without crying over it. I was pregnant before. I was pregnant last year, and I had a pregnancy a couple years, like 3 years before that, like 2 or 3 years before that. And both pregnancies ended up in a loss. I ended up getting a miscarriage. Sorry, my camera died. But a lot of times I felt like giving up, or I felt a lot of blame. I felt like, what's wrong with me? Why me? Or I didn't feel like a woman. I didn't feel like you know, God created us to build a better world. But also, like, a big thing for women is for us to be able to get pregnant, to be able to carry life and have our own family. So that led to me to feel like, think like, what's wrong? Or why am I not good enough? Like, why can't I get pregnant? And if I do get pregnant, why is it a miscarriage? Like, it was hard. Then a lot when that will happen, like, I'm sorry, it's hard to talk about this. When that would happen, your typical response from loved ones, from family members, is God only knows why he does things. Things happen for a reason. And those are the last words that you want to hear when you're going through a miscarriage. Those are the last words that you want your family to tell you. Because at that moment, you're in so much pain, you're in so much grief, that when someone tells you that, instead of making you feel better, it makes you feel worse. And I feel that a lot of what was going on with me was, I kept renegando. Like, yo renegaba. I'll be like, ¿por qué? Like, why? All the time. And I will compare my situation to other people. And this hurts me. It hurts me to know that people think that everything happens for a reason, or they think that God has a reason, or it wasn't my time. But at the same time, it's like, don't tell me that when I'm going through it. Because I see other women that are not ready, girls that are not ready, get pregnant. And they don't want a baby. How about all the girls that are not mentally ready? How about the women that are really in a situation where they can't take care of the baby and they get pregnant? What do? They go and, I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. I had a phone call and I got sidetracked. But basically, I was just saying, like, how it's hard to be told that, and at the same time, you see all the stuff that's going on. What breaks my heart is when there's girls that get pregnant and they just give birth and leave their child in a trash can, or they leave them in the middle of the road, or they just give them up. And that hurts, because if what you're telling me is that everything happens for a reason, then what was the reason behind that person getting pregnant and basically leaving their child to die? Recently there was I think they called the baby the Indian baby, where the girl had the baby, left the baby in a trash bag inside a trash can, and the family was coming home from vacation, pulled into the driveway, and they heard a baby cry, and then they called the police right away. And you can see when the police officer opens the trash bag and the baby's still there with the umbilical cord attached. That right there hurts. Or when girls that are in a bad life path, that do a lot of drugs, they do a lot of alcohol, that do all this stuff and are not ready to have kids, and they just don't care about them. So what was the reason behind that? Or the babies that, there was another incident around here not too long ago where again the girl had the baby, left the baby in a car seat in the middle, I think it was the winter, outside. If another person doesn't pass by, then that baby would have frozen. They would have died from the cold. And those situations are the ones that break my heart, because there's families, I'm not just talking about myself, because I know that a lot of women are struggling to have babies, and it's the women that are ready, it's the women that have like a stable household, the women that are seeking and they can't get pregnant. And it's something hard to go through, something to deal with, to go to doctor's appointments and to go to treatments and to check your ovulation, to check your temperature, to check that everything's going okay, to check your cervical mucus, instead of enjoying the practice of making love with your partner. It all becomes so scientific, and the pressure gets to you, and then you stress out, and then you just bum yourself out, because then you're like, another month that my period comes, another month that I'm seeing a negative, and it's hard to deal with. It's hard when you're ready and it just doesn't happen. And it's even harder when you've waited so long to get pregnant, and then it finally happens, and then you have a miscarriage. And then they say that the doctors tell you, don't feel guilty, it's not your fault. It could have been that the fetus or the baby was sick, because sometimes your body rejects when the fetus is not completely 100%, or it could be any other number of factors. But you can't help it. You can't help to think like, okay, what did I do wrong? Like, you start overanalyzing, critically thinking, and nitpicking every single detail that led to that, and you go a little mad and sad. And then Mother's Day just passed, and just because my baby is not in my arms, or other women's babies that they had miscarriages are not in their arms, it doesn't make them any less mothers, because they were mothers. They are mothers. We are mothers, just of an angel. And I think that, and I hope that we get to meet them in another life. But everybody says Happy Mother's Day to to moms because they have their baby here. But don't forget about the friends or your loved ones or someone that you know or you're close to that had a miscarriage. Don't forget about them, because they are still mothers. And I think it's harder and it's a stronger path to take when you're a mom, but you can't have your angel in your arms. Sorry, I got a phone call and I had to go out because me and my friend were going to San Francisco because she needed to go get she's gonna go to the Gucci store and Louis store to get a purse. And I just stopped filming and now I'm picking up the video again from where I left off. But basically I was just talking about how it's hard to hear people tell me that everything happens for a reason when there's so many situations where babies and toddlers and kids are not in the right home set, and you have people that are ready, stable and ready and mentally prepared to have a child, and they can't conceive on their own. And in no way am I trying to bash anybody, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying that sometimes it hurts to hear those words. And the whole situation is going on with pro-abortion or anti-abortion, and I feel that every case is different, every situation is different. I feel that there are situations where people are just not ready, and there are situations where they are, and everybody has their own story on what's going on, why everything's affecting them, or whatever the case might be. But I just feel that that's the worst thing you can tell someone that's grieving the loss of their baby. I feel that the more comforting way it could be is just being there. Sometimes just having someone there by your side and showing support, not even having to say anything, makes a world of difference. It was hard. It was really hard for me to get over my miscarriage. It was hard. I would cry and cry. Like, it was endless nights of crying, and I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like it was my fault. And for a long time I felt like it was my own fault and I was being punished. And I know it's silly to think that way, and I know it's silly to think God will even do that, but that's how I felt. Because whenever you asked me when I was young if I wanted kids, I would be like, no, I don't want kids. I don't think I'll ever be ready. I don't want kids anytime soon. I will always say I didn't want to have kids. Always. And because I always said that, I felt that now, because of all of the times that I said that, now I'm being punished. And now that I'm ready and I do want to have a baby, I haven't had a baby. And then when I have had the hope and the chance to say I am pregnant and I'm having a baby, and it gets taken away, all of that goes through your head. All of it. It's hard. It's really hard. The dates that they give you when your due date is, or the day that you found out you're pregnant, or all of that always comes to your head. Like, those dates become significant and become important, and it's just every year that you pass by, you're like, damn, my baby would have been 1 or 2 or 3 and 4 or 5. How many years? And I don't feel that ache ever goes away. Like, it's been hard. And I will Google how to cope with it. I will Google other people's experience, look at YouTube videos. And honestly, what helped me was to just cry it out. I cried out for like a year, a day, 2 days straight, and just, I let myself feel. I had to feel everything. And I let myself feel, and I had a support system. Just knowing that I had a support system, just knowing that I had someone there with me, just all of that helps. Feeling the pain, feeling the anger, feeling all of your emotions is what actually helps you. It helps you come into terms. It helps you go through every phase that you need to go through. And again, I can't reinforce how important it is to have your support system, to have your partner there with you, and understand that sometimes their way of coping it's not the same that yours is. What I got was they don't cry the way you cry. They don't show you the emotions that you're going through, and at that moment you feel like, wow, like you really didn't care, but that's not the point. I feel that your partner takes on a role as your rock, and since they're your rock, if they fall and you're already fallen, who's gonna pick you up? In their mind, they have to be strong, they have to be there for you, but they don't get to process the same emotions at the same time as you do. It doesn't mean that they don't care. It doesn't mean that they don't feel the same pain. They do feel it a lot, just as much as you do. It might be a little different because your body, and you're seeing everything that's happening. You're seeing it come out. You're seeing everything, but they're still feeling everything that you're feeling. And I feel like we need to appreciate and try to be there for them once they've been there for us, because they need to grieve too. Just because you don't see them crying doesn't mean that they didn't cry. And that was hard for me because I didn't realize that person was just being strong and they were trying to be there for me. It didn't mean that they didn't care that I was going through my miscarriage. It's hard. It's hard for them just as hard it is for you. And they won't show the same way or process the same way as you, but just be there for them just as they are for you. That's my form of advice for your partner too. And it took me a really long time to sit here and cry uncontrollably and be able to talk about it without crying all the way, because I couldn't speak about the subject without breaking down. And it was hard for me, and it's still hard. It's still hard to imagine everything I went through and to talk about it. But sometimes we need to, because other people might get help from your experience or find comfort, and I hope that I can bring comfort to other people. Sometimes that's what we need. We need comfort, and we need to know that we're not alone, because we're not. And miscarriages are common, and a lot of people don't speak about it or don't speak up, so we think that this is like a whole taboo thing, but a lot of women go through it, and knowing that we're not alone makes it so much better, and knowing that there's hope, and knowing that we're gonna get through this, and one day we will be able to be moms. Something that gives me joy and hope. But just because we can't have them sometimes biologically, it doesn't mean that we can't do any good. I feel that adoption, a kid that needs a home, will be something good for them too. Seeing all the babies or little toddlers or even teenagers that need a parent to be there, to be a support system. And just because we didn't have them biologically, doesn't mean that we can be a parent to them and be a mom to them. I haven't lost hope. I haven't lost hope at all. I feel that I am gonna be able to be a mom, whether I conceive naturally or I'm actually looking into becoming a foster parent with the route to adopt my foster child. Is gonna be a process, and I'm not sure when that will happen, but that's something I'm actually looking forward to doing, because I know that there's a lot of kids that need help that way. And I'm also gonna go through the journey of trying to conceive naturally. I have been doing some stuff, so I'm posting that in a Spanish video next, and then after that I'm gonna post it in English for the people that want to give it a try that speak English. So that's what's coming up soon. I hope that this video like gave you a little bit more insight into my life, what my journey has been with the miscarriage basically, and that it gives you like some type of closure in knowing that you're not alone, you're not going through this alone, and maybe it gives you tips on how to help your partner, how to help your loved one, and sometimes things that you shouldn't say. Other than that, I will see you guys on my next video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please share the video, like it, subscribe to me, leave me a comment down below, and I will see you guys on my next video.